Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration and juice. It is October the 4th, 2022, and today the topic is Hardened Hearts. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I hope that you all had a great day yesterday. Mine was just fine. My Monday was kind of busy. Long story short, had a little meeting that I almost forgot about. So shout out to my homegirl Summer. She's holding me accountable with these meetings. We said that we were gonna start kind of meeting on Mondays, and she remembered, and I forgot. So again, shout out to her. Again, I see the moves that she's making. I'm super excited and proud of her. And I updated the information on my calendar to say meeting with Summer because I had it. There was something on my calendar and it was like author meeting or something. I'm like, huh? I was like, I don't have no meeting with nobody. And so I just ignored it. And then she called me around noon and I'm like, oh, my bad, girl. And at that time I was getting ready because I had an episode of GSL to record. So I was recording that around 1, and I'm talking about y'all. Oh, it was a heavy conversation, but it's much, much needed. So be on the lookout. I won't get too deep into it, but we had a awesome lady, and she's sharing a lot of wisdom and knowledge that hopefully will help us, especially parents. So that is one thing that happened yesterday. And then, you may notice that I'm in a change of scenery. I'm in Studio A, right? I call the brick Studio A, right? Or Studio B, one of them. I'm in Studio B, and that's because I did a review for my friends over at Mom Bomb. Afterwards, instead of doing a shower, I decided to go ahead and take a nice bath yesterday. They sent me some products and to review. And so I decided to go ahead and use those yesterday. And it was great. It was a nice bath experience. And so I was able to do a video review for them. And yeah, which is crazy because even when I'm relaxing, I'm working, y'all. So just like I tell everybody in the group, man, y'all, look, take time to unwind. It was nice, even though it was kind of random because it was in the midday. And and after getting so relaxed in this bath, it was like, okay, all I really wanted to do was take a nap because I put the face mask on and everything. Again, it was midday, and my son had got up from his nap, and it's like a little after lunchtime, and it's just like, what am I doing? But again, I wanted to go ahead and do it because I knew I needed to review the products, and so it made sense in my mind when I was getting ready to do it, but then at the same time, it was like, I am super duper relaxed right now. But anywho, shout out to Mom Bomb. I did take a moment to update my mani pedi, so that was another thing as well. No, I didn't update my pedicure. My bad. I just update my manicure. So I guess this is my son's birthday, mommy's birthday nails for my son. For my son's birthday over the weekend. I kept the confetti look, but added on little, let me see, can I remember the names? Frontline Heroes is the confetti look. And then the blue is Fortune Teller. So yeah, that's pretty much what yesterday looked like. Again, alongside being a mom and working on ideas and trying to get mentally prepared for Saturday and little man zoo day and whatnot. Trying to decide how far I want to go. Like on one hand, I want to get us t-shirts and do the whole cute little family thing, but on the other hand, I'm like, I could use those funds towards something else. So I don't know, debating. But yeah, I'm excited nonetheless. I think he will be excited too. And yeah. No plans today really. Well, I know I need to work on a freelance project, so I'm probably going to do that as soon as I get done with this. But other than that, maybe it'll be a rest day. maybe we'll see. But yeah, that's all that I have. Oh well, financial fitness later on tonight as well. So, but anywho, let's get into this chit chat about uh the daily inspiration aspect, the juice, what you guys started tuning in for. Today's topic is called Hardened Hearts. And I basically, long story short, I did the prayer meditation and it was kind of talking about life and death, and I ended up kind of doing a deep dive about both of those. I was looking at verses centered around death, and I also was kind of looking into this concept of, God being the only God. Because, see, here's the thing. um, I guess I was just thinking about a lot of different things. I was thinking about the fact that, so many people have died for this message. Not only the disciples, but then, people after them, martyrs, after them, people before them as well, before Jesus came. And so it's just an ongoing, like the Bible, right? It's an ongoing story of people that had these relationships with God. Some didn't see the promise, all these different things. And ultimately, God came down in the flesh and as Jesus and did all these things to make a way for me and you. Yet, people just still go through life denying. And I get it, I do get it, I guess, from one perspective, because it's like, well, how do we know, and I mean, I guess we can go off of what happened before us, right? And then also what we observe, because again, when we observe someone passing away, we don't see their body gone. There was only maybe a few people that had that testimony, which that's another thing too. I randomly came across Enoch, and I didn't go too deep into his story, but because I think there might be multiple Enochs, but anyway. But one of them apparently got taken up and didn't die. I know Elijah had that testimony. I can't remember who else had that type of testimony where they didn't die and was taken away. And I guess their whole bodies was taken away. But well, Jesus, but he did die, but came back. But yeah, I mean, I guess just thinking about all these different things. And so ultimately, as I was doing that deep dive and just really thinking about, again, life, God being God, God can do whatever you want to do, all those different concepts and things like that. Ultimately, I started to think about, the hardened heart. Again, no matter what, there's just some people that's going to reject Christ, and I don't believe that that's God's will. I think that he wants all of us to come, and that's why he made a way, right, for all of us. But, at the end of the day, there are going to be people that reject the message no matter what. And the interesting thing is, again, listening to cross-examine and whatnot definitely helped me get a better understanding and different perspective of all of that. Because, for example, like as I looked up verses centered around the hardened heart, and I'm seeing these accounts with Pharaoh, and at some point it says that the Lord hardens Pharaoh's heart. It kind of makes you ask those questions like, well, God, why did you do that? But then, I mean, I guess, again, as you study and don't just look at things that, and try to think you understand just by reading one verse, I mean, you'll see that Pharaoh hardened his heart multiple times before it said that God hardened Pharaoh's heart. And there's just so many things like that that's a little bit deeper than I think we understand. So that's for people that are willing to go deeper, I say, like, going deeper and really reading into that and getting more understanding about that and seeking the Lord for that wisdom, I think, is wise. But if we just focus on the surface part of, what happens before, like, it's like you don't want to get to the place where God hardens your heart, right? You want to kind of fix whatever that is before you get to that place. Because if you're at that place, then not to say you're beyond helping or something, but I think once you get to the place where God is hardening your heart based on your continuous hardening of your heart, then that's on a whole nother level. And so So yeah, let's think about it in the beginning, right? All these offers that the Lord gives us, and you're hardening your heart against that. One of the things that helped me get a little bit more understanding about this was I can't remember his name, Frank Turek or something like that. The gentleman's name is Mr. Dr. Frank Turek. I don't know. And I think that's his name. But anywho, he gave this perfect example that helped me understand this whole thing a little bit more. Because again, I think just like again, I got the clarity throughout the juice to understand that okay, we're not all God's children. Yes, we are all created in his image, and yes, we all have the potential to be his children, but the reality is that we are not all God's children. There are some of us that are, just fine operating under their father, right? Which is Satan. I mean, I know we don't like to hear that, but according to the Bible, anything opposite of Christ is antichrist, and that's any and everything. So that's Bible. That ain't miracle. So just for the record, I didn't make that up. I'm just telling you what I'm reading and the understanding that I have received. And so that's one thing. But then also, because of that, I know we like to think that everybody wants to go to heaven. Like we want to, like deep down within, we want to think that. But the reality is that maybe that may not be the case, based on again how we live and what we choose to do and what we choose to do with the information about Christ, that everything like that. That truly shows like what you really want in your heart. And because of that, like Mr. Frank was saying to the people, that at the end of the day, God is not going to force you to be with him. God is not going to force you to love him. Because again, I mean, I think we can understand from a human perspective, anybody that forces you to love them, that's not true love. And and I know he gives the example of like women, and I know we all could probably attest to this. Men probably can too, but if anyone has ever dealt with someone that had a crush on them or constantly pursued them and you weren't feeling them in that way, like you didn't like them like that, and they constantly continue to kind of pressure you because they loved you so much, like somebody that truly loved you would let you go. They wouldn't force themselves on you. And so that's something to think about at the end of the day. If we can understand that on a human level, that, hey, I wouldn't want to be forced into a relationship with a guy just because he loves me and I don't feel the same. You know what I mean? So if you can understand that, then you should be able to understand this concept with God, that same thing. He's not going to force himself on us. He's made it all available. He's given us all these different signs and wonders within our own bodies, not even talking about outside of huge miracles and things that was talked about in the Bible, and of course things that we witness every day in life. But just look at ourselves and we can see that like we're so intricate and so detailed to where it's it had to be created. We had to have been created and not just an accident, and so because of that, I mean, deep within we know that, we know the truth, because that's the truth is written on our hearts according to the Bible. So therefore, if you choose to reject the truth over and 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 over, at some point, when your time is up and death comes or whatever the case is, then I mean, according to whatever choice you made, that's just, if you didn't want to be with God while you were quote unquote alive, then you're not going to be with God when you're quote unquote dead. And I say that because, again, as I read Bible verses this morning about death and whatnot, it kept referring to death as sleep. And I know at some point Jesus had to kind of be clear with the disciples that, okay, when I said sleep, I mean that he died. But I mean, from what I'm understanding, according to the Bible, it says repeatedly that life continues, right? I know that's weird, because we're like, well, we see the dead bodies, we see that person's spirit is no longer within them, or that person is gone, X, Y, and Z, and we bury the bodies. Majority of us, I mean, of course, there's alternative ways these days, but we bury the bodies, X, Y, and Z. But whatever, I say the spirit because I think that's a clear indication that there is spirit, because the person is no longer there, or whatever within them is no longer there. But anywho, again, people question all this, people harden their hearts. And so let's look at what the Bible has to say about that, Let's see what the Bible has to say. So Hebrews 3:15, it says, as it is said today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as in the rebellion. I mean, it's clear instruction here. It says, do not harden your heart. Again, we do it, and if we do that, then that is what is called rebellion. I'm going to keep going. Jeremiah 17:9. It says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately sick. Who can understand it? We may feel in our heart that we are doing the right thing. But I mean, the Bible does tell us to not lean on our own understanding. So there you go. I think it's wise to seek God about, hey, Lord, is this the right thing? And everything like that. And I would think, like, if you seek God about, hey, Lord, should I harden my heart towards you? Then he's probably going to let you know that that's probably not a wise thing to do. That's just me and my random, idea of seeking God. But I mean, hey, because again, our hearts are sick. I mean, and again, we don't want to think this as humans, right? We want to think that all of us are good, right? But it's pretty evident and clear that we're not all good, and we don't all make the best decisions based on our own hearts and minds, because if that was the case, then there would be no evil, right? There would be no, wronging other people. There would be none of the evil things that we witness happening every day. Unfortunately, I know we were talking yesterday, again, this is a future episode of GSL, but me and the lady was talking yesterday, and she was talking about, unfortunately, the evils of sexual abuse and everything like that, and how so many children are affected. She gave these staggering statistics, and in my mind, I don't even understand how an adult could even do any of this stuff to kids. But I mean, it happens. And so do we think that, I mean, our hearts are sick. Therefore, and I just say us as humans. I'm not saying all humans do that crazy stuff, but I'm just saying that all humans are capable of that crazy stuff. So therefore, we need a savior. But anywho, let's keep going, y'all. Job 12:48. It says, the one who rejects me and does not receive my words has a judge. The word that I have spoken will judge him on the last day. I know people say that all the time. They're like, only God can judge me. I don't know if any of us are ready for that. Like, we say it, but I don't think we ready for it. I don't think so. But anywho, that's just me. Again, that's just me and my random thought. But yeah, those that reject, you have a judge. You have a judge at the end of the day. And basically, yes, the word that has already been spoken about what's going to happen. Like that. I mean, I don't even think there's anything else I could add or say to that. Because it's already written, like, what is to come. And so because of that, right, Jesus came to clean us up and clear us up of that. But if you reject that, then you're kind of subjected to the wrath of God. And I mean, I know people ask all these questions, are like, oh, why would God do that? But it's like, I mean, again, but we want justice. See, that's the crazy thing. It's like we understand the concepts when it's us, right? We understand, again, like the earlier example, if somebody was forcing you to love them and you didn't really want that, that would be wrong, right? And we understand that, right? But then we don't understand that God's not going to force himself on us in that same aspect, or again, we're like, well, why would God send people to hell? Well, at the end of the day, he didn't create hell for us. It's said there in the Bible. It's like, hey, this was created for the devil and the angels that rejected. Now, at the end of the day, if you decide that, hey, I don't want to be with God, that's the option, so who put you there? Like, it's not, did you put you there or did God put you there? Like, we like to think that it's God, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying, as you read the Bible, man, it's just one of those things that really just, I don't know, just really something to think about. Something to think about. Because again, we ask these questions, but but on the flip side, what I was going to say earlier is that we want justice on earth. Like when there's something that happens, it's something that's wrong and something that's done to us, we want justice, right? We want justice. We understand that then, but then we don't understand that when it comes to God. I don't know. Something to think about. Anyway, 1 Samuel 6:6 is, First Samuel 6:6. It says, why should you harden your hearts as the Egyptians and Pharaoh hardened their hearts? After he had dealt severely with them, did they not send the people away and they departed? I was writing this verse down this morning, and as I was reading it, I'm like, why don't we learn, man? We don't ever learn from our past. Like, I know people talk about history a lot, and they're like, it's so we don't repeat our history, da da da. But it's like, but that's all we do is repeat history. Like, we just keep doing the same stuff over and over again. It seems as if we would have learned, right, from previous nations before us. Like, none of them seem to have survived, right? God and his wrath. Like, I mean, now I can stand corrected. Now people can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm saying is, like, Egypt doesn't have the same glory that it used to have. Apparently, from what I'm understanding, Rome, Sodom and Gomorrah is not even around. Like, any of these nations that was ultimately judged by God is like kind of, not saying null and void, but the only memory of them is the word, really, and the testimonies about them. Like, when you look into historical things about them, it's like not much. Or so I don't know, it's just like, why don't we learn from past mistakes? That's something my mom taught me in my childhood, that hey, learn from other people's mistakes. You can see what they went through and make your decisions to not go through those things and learn from other people's mistakes. So yeah, why don't we look at this account of Pharaoh? Let's look at these accounts of people in the past that reject God and see how it went for them, and then ultimately decide if that's what we want to do. Some people still, it don't matter, they still want to harden their heart. But I don't know, for those that I guess have eyes and ears to hear and see, let's just think about these things before we harden our heart against the Lord. I got one more verse today. It is Proverbs 28:14. It says, blessed are the ones who fear the Lord always, but whoever hardens his heart will fall into calamity. So, I mean, hey, there you go, y'all. That's the juice today. I mean, there's plenty of verses that you guys can peruse and let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds regarding all of this. I hope that this encourages you and inspires you to soften your heart a little bit today to the Lord. But I have one more thing, and that's the Bible verse of today, and that's Matthew 6:14. It says, for if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow. If the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And there you go, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, anybody listening to the sound of my voice. I hope that you all are encouraged and inspired. Thank you so much for listening to your girl on today. Yep. I got to get to work. I got a little bit of work to do, so I'm probably going to go ahead and try to do that now to go ahead and knock it out. But as for everything else, y'all, I hope y'all have a great, great Tuesday. And yes, I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye.